5 in your squad.
No can do.
Alright guys, thank you for joining a NAK Squad live stream. I'm going to move away from people so I can talk to you guys. With this mission, it's actually already completely set up. I used the Alive system to set up today's mission. So the AI are all going to spawn in automatically when players get close. We're going to do mostly a CQB where the insurgents have taken over areas of Orbster, or Robster. God, I'm horrible. Including some of the what would be considered NATO bases in the area. I don't want to move into that area right now because it will start spawning the AI, and I want to wait until we're about ready to get started. But there is something that I did want to show everybody. These are two mods.
Parts of where the IEDs are and other.
No can do.
These are two mods that we allow our Zeuses to use on the NAK Squad servers. And I'm going to move over to an area of the map that's isolated and show you guys a couple of those mods real quick. So the first one is a FPS monitor that not only shows the server FPS, but it also shows every client's FPS. It's set to user custom action number 12. Mine, I've got it set to control minus. And you can see now on my guy, I've got 33 at 34 FPS. And then I can move over to the other players and I can see all of their FPS. So that allows you to build the mission and adjust it accordingly if people's FPS start to decrease. It's a simple mod. It's I'll post the link in the description of this video. But right now it's called Vile FPS Monitor. The second one is from the makers of Zek. Most of our Zeuses are familiar with Zek. They make a lot of the components that we use, the compositions that we use to spawn in a large variety of the things. They also make a Zek for Cup, which I use for a lot of my missions when I'm making them in the editor. This one is called ZEI, and it does have Eden elements to it, but it also has some Zeus exposed elements to it. And so far I'm very impressed with how it works. It's got a few things lacking, and they do need to expand into some of the to have compositions for some of these buildings, like I'll show you in a moment. But it's perfect for vanilla missions for sure. So the first one is garrison building. We all have these garrison options that are available with both Ace and with Achilles. They have their own garrison options. But the garrison building from ZEI seems to work really nice. It puts them at windows where the garrison may not face in the right direction, stuff like that. The ZEI garrison building does a really good job of pointing people in the right direction. And then the other thing I have noticed is ZEI garrisons in buildings that the other two will not. So for example, this building, I'll show you ZEI garrison. This is my biggest complaint about it, is the list is not organized very well. I would like to be able to pick a side and then have that list kind of sub-filtered instead of just a huge long list of both blue 4, independent, and not 4. But let's just pick this. Actually, this may not garrison right. Number of units 3, and then say OK. It actually picked the building behind. So it didn't have this building either. This is one of the buildings that I know. Oh, nope, that one may get it. I just misclicked. So if I garrison this, now they're outside, they're inside, they're all different levels. Couple of
Castle
errors.
which joined your channel.
people floating in the space there, but that's not too bad. We got one guy that missed, two guys that died, but for the most part, that's a pretty dang good garrison. Now, let me delete these. I'll put down a single group of insurgents, and I'll try to garrison in this building using the other two options, and you'll see that I do not believe that they'll actually garrison into that building. So we'll teleport top, bottom, building by building. They did garrison on top, but they didn't garrison inside it. Let's try that again. So I'm going to ungarrison group. I'm going to put them all down here. And then I'm going to garrison group again. I'm going to set it to 1 meter. Teleport, building by building. And again, nothing really on the secondary floors, anything like that. So the ZEI did a much better job. Now, I'll do that again using ZEI garrison building on this building here. I'm just going to leave it as a blue 4. They try to kind of guess how many units would be good, minimum, maximum, which is okay. It gives you plenty of units inside a building. And now, if you look, the garrison, this one's looking out a window, this one's at a window, this one's at a window. Not quite, that window's not really where he can get to, but this one's also at a window. Now, if I were to just take that same group or a group and tell them to garrison into that building using the ace garrison, you'll find that it just places them randomly in the building. None of them are at windows, none of them are really looking out. So the ZEI garrison is much better option in many cases. The next thing the ZEI has is interior fill. The object that you're trying to fill must be known by ZEI, but it does have a lot of the vanilla structures in it.
D-Wolf left your channel.
For example, I'm going to click interior fill on this building. I can then check whether I want it civilian or military, which buildings, so I want just this one building. Allow the Zeus to be able to edit the objects, yes or no, and then allow damage to the building. If you say yes, if the building gets destroyed, some of the objects may kind of float in space, so I generally leave allow damage off. And that actual building was not found. So that was using a JBAD building. That's probably why it wasn't found. And you'll find that a lot of these JBAD and Middle Eastern buildings, they don't have compositions for yet. But I'm 99% positive this one will have it. And it does. And you'll notice it puts sandbags at good locations. It puts chairs and tables and other objects. When you do it in the editor in Eden, it does a good job of making the objects simple objects to speed up any object that it can't be a simple object. It makes them simple to speed up things. It does interesting things like uses these plywood to block certain entries so that it's not wide open. So that is a wonderful tool to quickly just select the building and say, I'm going to make object and fill it with certain things. And again, I can do the same here. Object type, whoops, not object fill, interior fill. Military, and say okay. And then now you'll see it spawned all these objects to make it look like a military type building. Most of these buildings do have multiple compositions that are available for that building. So if I select interior fill on this one, it may have a totally different set of composition than the first one I did, and it does. You do get this sort of thing every once in a while where things aren't perfectly flat, but I can live with that. You know, the fact that it does this so quick and so easy, I can make some adjustments and move things on top of the table if they fall off, that sort of stuff. So that's that. Last is the object fill. Let me delete these. I don't need them in my mission. An object fill I find is best for things like vehicles, containers, things like that, where you want to allow the players to find health, food, med packs, that sort of thing. So object fill, and you can click on an object, and I don't know if this object can actually be filled, but we'll find out. Again, object type is random, food, medical, office, or tools. And then how much helpful should it be? And then again, whether it's editable by the Zeus. And that wasn't found. Let's put down a container that I know can be opened. And you can do the same thing with ammo boxes. It doesn't have to be a large container. It can be a small object as well. So let's see. We're going to put a ammo box here. Try to pick a bigger one. Supply box. See that? We'll open it and show what's in it initially.
Do you like?
No can do.
So I'm going to go ahead and clear it. Say OK. And then I'll go to the ZEI and object fill. Random 30%. OK. No suitable objects. Oh, I'm not doing real good. Should have tested what objects it would do work well on. Okay, let's try it with a container here. No suitable objects. I'm not doing real good here.
Reaper6 joined your channel.
I think I could even fill a building. No. Let's see if we can find something here. Does have to be a container of some sort. Let's try a vehicle real quick. Oh, let's not do that. Let me find a container real quick.
Reaper6 left your channel.
I think it will do. I think I've done a So again, let's open it, clear it. Yeah, I don't think it's going to do this because it's not actual. I don't think it's actually trying to fill an inventory, but it's actually trying to fill the object. So, but let's try to find out. Yeah, let me make sure I'm clicking on it right. No. Okay. I think the problem is that these aren't actual. Yes, that's an object that should be able to fill. Oh, but that's JBAD. Let me find one that's. Oh, we definitely don't want that. Object, so it should fill this. Let me try one more time. And no suitable objects found. Well, I know I have gotten it to work. I don't know for sure why it's not working at this point. But you guys can experiment around trying to fill objects with it. One other thing I was going to show you is the object switch. Again, I talked about earlier using these compositions from Zach and other places. And let me put down a military field headquarters, for example. Background here. And you notice this one is all with the tan and with the tan or desert type H barriers. And using the object switch, I can then say that I want to switch to, for example, jungle, and everything that can be switched switches to the green jungle. Again, object switch, and I'm going to switch it to cup woodland, and everything that can switch to cup woodland does so. Alright, so I hope that showed you guys something at least a little bit new, and we will start our mission stream in about 15 minutes. Until then, hang tight. We'll watch another one of the NAK videos, and we'll be online in a few minutes. Thanks for watching.